Once again, back from Grand Isle, Louisiana. Thanks for tuning in. Our continuing coverage, extended coverage all weekend as Cristobal strengthens and heads right up here to the Gulf Coast. In fact, it may make landfall right around Grand Isle. In the meantime, the surf is gradually coming up. We don't have really much swell yet from Cristobal. It just came off the Mexican coast, the Yucatan coast, earlier today. It's now a minimal tropical storm. We'll get another full update from the Hurricane Center in Miami just before 11 o'clock Eastern. But as the sun sets, you can see white caps now farther out. We didn't have those this morning as the sun came up. By the way, I checked the high tides on Sunday. That's the key. High tide late morning and late evening. Also, we have a full moon today, so the spring tides come into play. So the tides will be a little higher than average. So we'll see how that all times out as the storm approaches on Sunday evening and makes landfall. But in the meantime, the weather will go downhill as we get into later tomorrow and tomorrow night. We'll start to see some of those outer rain bands. Inland, watch out for some flash flooding. We could see easily over a half a foot of rain, and that rainfall is going to impact you all the way up into the Midwest as we get into Monday and Tuesday. Meanwhile, I was out here for the sunrise this morning. Want to pan around here and show you the sun going down in the northwestern sky in Grand Isle. Sunset tonight just a few minutes before 8 Central Time on a breezy evening. By the way, I've checked the winds at some of the buoys, and they have gradually come up, now gusting upwards of 18 miles an hour. Still not a big deal, but it's going to be a slow process for the winds to come up and the surf to come up. But we'll notice a distinctive difference this time tomorrow here on the Louisiana coast, and then by Sunday morning, we'll be in the thick of it as some of those squalls start to rotate in from Tropical Storm Cristobal. So, Dr. Nab, we're on top of it, and I know you're on top of it because it's all about the wind and the wind energy that creates the waves and the wave heights I mentioned earlier. Weather Service expecting 15 to 20 footers out here by Sunday.
Yeah, and Mike, that's what a large tropical storm can do.
All right, let's go out to Mike Seidel. He is in Grand Isle in southern parts of Louisiana. And Mike, as we were looking at your shot earlier, noticed that the waves certainly elevated there. Got one night for folks to sort of take it all in, and then the evacuations begin tomorrow.
Exactly, and what we're taking in right now is take a little break from the exact coverage, but look at this sky. You know, it doesn't get much better than this, the tropical sky, but what you're seeing there, it's being lit by the sun. It's already gone down below the horizon. That's the edge of the cirrus shield that's emanating around this huge gyre, which is part of Cristobal. And we're, 450 plus miles north of the center coming off the coast of the Yucatan. And so this edge has come through and look all the way down to the west and down the coast here in Grand Isle. This is a barrier island. We're about 2 hours south of New Orleans. Just an incredible sky tonight here on the coast of Louisiana. Well ahead of Cristobal. It's going to take a while before we get into the serious impacts. Those will be more likely on Sunday. Tomorrow night, by this time, we should have some rain. Carl mentioned the surf. It is gradually coming up. They're rolling in. They're breaking a little farther out, but we're still looking at about 3 footers out here. A lot of shrimp boats. You can see the lights on the shrimp boats here off the coast of Louisiana. Tide going out. The key high tides on Sunday, late morning and late evening. So we'll see how that times out with the landfall. Right now, the Hurricane Center track brings the center somewhere near this area. And boy, they're used to tropical weather. Looking back, they average a brush by of a tropical system just a little over every 2 years, and a hurricane direct hit about every 6.2 years. So this is an area that's well versed in tropical storms and hurricanes. The last one was just last year with Barry. Now with Barry, that was a hurricane, Cat 1. Now that pushed the water about halfway between here and the motels and the hotels and the homes. There's a lot of land, a lot of dune, grass, and then there's a berm. So we're not concerned about getting stuck here. In fact, we're the highest part of the island. But evacuations, Carl, kick in mandatory tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. They're also going to shut down the beach. And by the way, Carl, you've been sending out a lot of good stuff about how the water temperatures in the Gulf are running above average. That's the case here. Water right now, 84 degrees. Very delightful.
Yeah, very nice, but a lot of energy in that water and a lot of concern about just how strong this thing is going to get. Mike, thank you so much. We want to go out to Mike Seidel. He's been reporting from Grand Isle in Louisiana, and Mike already seeing some elevated surf there, and they want everybody to get out of that area by tomorrow morning.
Yes, mandatory evacuation, 6 a.m. tomorrow here in Grand Isle. Meanwhile, photo op city, look at the sky tonight. I mean, this is worth the price of admission. And what you see, we're starting to lose that orange edge there. That's the outer band, the cirrus shield, that's rotated in from Cristobal, which is hundreds of miles away. What, last check, about 480 miles south of the mouth of the Mississippi River. And then you see the horizon with the orange, and then the stratus clouds, which were around today. We had one little shower late morning, and that was it. It's been a very dry day. That is really going to change as we get into tomorrow night and especially Sunday, even into Monday morning. Speaking of the surf, this is from early this afternoon, just down the coast a bit at the Grand Isle State Park, and I went out on the pier to get a sense of the waves rolling into the beaches. These are about 2, maybe 3 footers. That's it. We're a long way away from that swell, and that's going to start rotating in and propagating towards the coast tomorrow. In fact, the National Weather Service marine forecast here for Sunday and Sunday night puts breakers out here 15 to 20 feet. We'll have continuing coverage. We're on late tonight all weekend. We've got crews up and down the coast in Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Even though Tropical Storm Cristobal is still about 450 miles south of the mouth of the Mississippi River, we're starting to see the leading edge of the high clouds, the cirrus shield, that's rotating in here to Grand Isle, Louisiana. There it is. What a sunset this evening here on the Louisiana coast. You can see the orange now lighting up the horizon, and then just above the horizon, behind the stratus clouds, those gray clouds, that's the edge of the cirrus shield. Again, we're a long way from the center of Cristobal. It's going to be sometime later Sunday before that center makes landfall. But today we're starting to see the waves ramp up. This is video shot this afternoon just down the coast at the Grand Isle State Park. I'm out on the pier. You can see the waves rolling in. But this is nothing like we're going to see come Sunday and Sunday night. In fact, the Weather Service in their marine forecast predicting 15 to 20-foot breakers here on the beaches. We're also under a storm surge warning from here off to the mouth of the Mississippi and coastal parts of coastal Mississippi. That's where we could see 3 to 5 feet. Right here, we're expecting a 2 to 4 foot surge above where you have typically dry land, and the tropical storm warning, which also includes New Orleans. So we could have wind gusts here, 50, 60, maybe some 70-mile-an-hour gusts with some of the squalls, as Cristobal is scheduled to make landfall here sometime on Sunday evening. It could be right here in Grand Isle. This location, very susceptible and very used to tropical systems. In fact, about every 6.2 years, they take a direct hit from a hurricane.